It started with just one finger, pointing him. How did he become a father overnight? The word was against them, but would it quench their unexpected thirst? Watch this story of Mijin and Rosemary. Their love history led to questioning, lies, and heartbreak.
Please subscribe.
It had been 1 week since Rosemary stepped onto Korean soil with nothing but a duffel bag, her 5-year-old son Ian, and the fragile hope of a new beginning. Seoul was a city that breathed ambition, glittered with promise, and moved faster than her racing thoughts. Every streetlight that flickered on at night reminded her she had escaped, but not outrun, the darkness of her past. Rosemary hadn't planned to stay illegally. Her papers had been forged by someone she trusted in Nigeria, someone who said, "You deserve to start over. Let me help you." Instead, they gave her the lie of a lifetime. She found work cleaning offices at night and folding clothes in a boutique during the day. It wasn't glorious, but it paid enough to feed Ian and occasionally treat him to fish cake on sticks. For a woman who had once begged on the streets with a baby in her arms, this felt like a miracle. Until the miracle ended. The immigration officers found her. It happened fast, faster than the pounding of her terrified heart. She had just collected her salary from a kind boutique owner and was walking Ian through the subway exit when the officers cornered her. Her passport, illegal. Her ID, fake. Her visa, non-existent. She was going to be deported. "I don't want to go back," she sobbed, clinging to her son as they were escorted to the Incheon airport holding room. "Mama, are we going home?" Ian asked with wide eyes. Rosemary bent down, pressing her forehead to his.
"No, sweetheart.
"We're not going anywhere. I promise." But that promise cracked when she saw the departure board blinking Lagos, Nigeria, boarding soon. Her mind spiraled, desperate to anchor itself to anything. Then, the lie fell from her lips like instinct. Pointing across the departure hall, she shouted, "He's the father." The bustling terminal turned into a vacuum of silence. Fingers pointed. Murmurs buzzed. Cameras clicked. There, standing stiff in a sleek black suit with a briefcase in one hand and a phone in the other, was Han Mijin, CEO of Mijin Group, the youngest and most elusive tech magnate in Korea. He blinked. His brows furrowed as if someone had accused him of murder, not fatherhood. "Excuse me," he said sharply as the immigration officers turned toward him. Rosemary had just written a scandal with her mouth, and it couldn't be erased. 10 minutes later, they were seated in a private immigration office, the tension thicker than the glass walls. "She claims your child is yours, Mr. Han," the officer said flatly, flipping through Rosemary's illegal documents. Mijin didn't even glance at the file. He was too focused on the woman before him, tired, trembling, but still glaring at him like he was the one ruining her life. "I have never seen this woman before in my life," he said coldly. "But I saw you," Rosemary countered. "We had a one-night stand 5 years ago. I didn't think I'd see you again." "A one-night," he cut himself short. His jaw ticked. "You expect me to believe that?" Ian tugged on Mijin's sleeve.
"Daddy," he said.
The word sucker-punched him in the chest. The officer raised a brow. "Mr. Han, if the child is yours, then she cannot be deported." "I want a paternity test," he snapped. Rosemary clutched Ian to her chest. "You're rich. You can take care of this later. Please, don't let them deport me. Let me prove it. Please." Mijin hesitated. The last time his name trended was because of a company acquisition. Now it would be about secret children and a scandalous airport drama. He exhaled through his nose.
"Fine.
I'll handle this quietly." In the sleek black Maybach, silence sat between them like a third passenger. Ian dozed off in the back seat, his tiny head resting on Rosemary's arm. "You have 5 minutes," Mijin said. "Convince me." I panicked. "I know I shouldn't have lied. But I wasn't trying to hurt you." "Oh, but you did. You called me daddy in front of 20 reporters. I didn't know what else to do."
"I've worked so hard to build something."
"Please don't let it end here. You could have picked anyone. Why me? I didn't know who you were. You were just the man in a suit standing there, looking important. I thought they'd believe it and back off." Mijin scoffed, rubbing his temples. "Brilliant. So now I'm babysitting a woman and a child I don't know. Not a child. A family. He turned to her then, his gaze hard. You said I'm the father. But I know I'm not. Her throat tightened. How would you know? Because I'm impotent. The words were blunt, devastating, and cold. I've had 2 secret engagements. Both broke off because I couldn't give them children. I've seen specialists. Taken meds. All because of my mother's obsession with heirs. Rosemary gasped. I didn't know. Of course you didn't. Because you were lying. Tears welled in her eyes.
Please.
If you send me back, you're ending me. Something in her voice cracked the ice around his heart. She wasn't a con artist. She was just tired.
Worn.
Desperate. And her son, his fake son, had called him daddy like he meant it. The elevator doors opened with a whisper, revealing a minimalist paradise in white, chrome, and gray. Rosemary stepped cautiously into Mi-jin's penthouse with Ian asleep in her arms, his cheeks still smudged from tears. The scent of expensive cologne lingered faintly in the air, mixing with polished marble and power. Mi-jin didn't speak for a while. He set his briefcase down by the couch and walked to the floor-to-ceiling windows, arms folded behind his back. Below them, Seoul stretched like a glittering map of second chances. Chances Rosemary wasn't sure she deserved. You'll stay here. For now. His voice was neutral.
Distant.
There's a guest room down the hall. Use it. Don't go into my room. Don't touch my things. Don't speak to the housekeeper unless necessary. Rosemary nodded. Ian needs to be in school, she said softly. I'll handle it. She hesitated. You don't have to. You made me the father, he snapped, whirling around. Now let me act like one, since I'm already stuck in the role. She bit her lower lip, her voice trembling. Thank you. Don't thank me yet. The guest room was twice the size of the small apartment she and Ian had stayed in before. The bed was queen-sized. The sheets smelled like lavender and money. There was even a small TV and stuffed animals waiting on the shelf. Rosemary tucked Ian under the blanket and stared at his sleeping form. I'm sorry, baby, she whispered, brushing his curls. I had no choice. A soft knock startled her. She turned to find Mi-jin at the door, arms crossed. I had your phone checked. It's a prepaid burner. I'll get you a real one tomorrow. We'll also start the immigration process. I know someone. Her eyes widened. You're helping me? I have a reputation to protect. If the tabloids believe I have a son, the least I can do is act like it until this blows over. Even if you know the boy isn't yours?
He didn't respond.
His eyes were unreadable. Let's just say I'm curious about the kind of woman who'd risk everything for her child. Over the next week, the arrangement blurred into something unspoken. Mi-jin worked from home most days. His voice echoed through the apartment on conference calls while Ian built Lego cities in the living room. He brought home books for Ian, a sketch pad for Rosemary. Meals were shared in silence at first, but soon awkward conversations slipped in. Your son eats like a soldier. He says he needs strength to protect me. Mi-jin looked up. From what? Everything. One night, Rosemary walked into the kitchen for a drink and found Mi-jin washing dishes. You don't strike me as the dishwashing type, she teased, stepping closer. He didn't smile, but he didn't move away either. I grew up poor. My mother washed dishes until her fingers bled. I wash them now to remind myself. Remind yourself of what? That everything can be taken, just like that. Their eyes locked. The moment felt fragile. Why are you really helping me? She asked. He looked down. Because for the first time in years, I wanted to come home. 2 weeks later, the tabloids didn't die down. Instead, the fire grew. Mi-jin Group CEO caught in love child scandal. Who is the mysterious woman with Han Mi-jin? Child calls billionaire daddy, and he doesn't deny it. Even worse, Mi-jin's mother, Chairwoman Han, arrived without warning. She strode into the penthouse like she owned the air in it. Regal in her pale blue hanbok, eyes cold as glaciers, her stare froze Rosemary in place. This is the woman? She asked, surveying her like a lowly dish. Mother, this is Rosemary.
And Ian.
You're letting her live here? Yes.
She lied. She used you.
I know. Then why? Because she's not using me anymore. She's here. And she's staying. Chairwoman Han's voice dropped. You're impotent. This lie will bring shame to our family. Mi-jin's jaw tensed. I don't care. You should. That child is not your blood. You are not his father. Then why, he said, voice rising, does it feel like I am? That night, Rosemary couldn't sleep. She sat on the balcony in a hoodie, knees pulled to her chest. The door opened behind her. Mi-jin joined her. She's terrifying, she whispered.
She's my mother, he said.
She's supposed to be. Silence stretched. Then he added, she's wrong, you know. About what?
Ian.
He might not be mine, but he feels like mine. Rosemary's eyes shimmered with unshed tears. You're not what I expected. Neither are you. They were quiet again, until he reached out and touched her hand. It was warm, steady,
real.
And then, before either of them could explain the pull between them, their lips met. It wasn't planned. It wasn't innocent. It was desperate, curious,
soft.
And when it broke, Rosemary whispered, I'm sorry. Mi-jin only said, don't be. It started with a kiss, tender and electric. But it didn't stop there. That night, after their lips parted on the balcony and the stars bore silent witness, Rosemary leaned into Mi-jin again, her breath catching as his arms slid around her waist. Their bodies remembered what their hearts hadn't yet admitted. They were falling for each other, quietly, hopelessly. Are you sure? She whispered against his jaw. No, he said, brushing his lips against her temple. But I don't want to regret this. That night, she didn't sleep in the guest room. And by morning, she was his secret, tangled in silk sheets and shame, warmth and wonder. 3 weeks later, the pregnancy test blinked 2 red lines. Rosemary's hand trembled as she gripped the sink. She could barely hear Ian giggling in the living room over the pounding in her chest. 2 red lines. Positive. Impossible. She was pregnant. And the only man she'd been with in the last year was, oh my God, she whispered. She paced the bathroom, the box clutched to her chest, her mind screaming. Mi-jin had said he was impotent. He'd told her he couldn't have children. Then how? Later that evening, Mi-jin returned home after a board meeting, tie loose, expression taut. I brought dinner, he said, dropping takeout bags on the kitchen counter. Ian wanted those sweet potato noodles. She stood frozen in the doorway. I need to talk to you, she said. He paused. What is it? She held out the test. I'm pregnant. The color drained from his face. No, he whispered. I didn't cheat on you, Mi-jin. I know. His hands clenched. I know. Because there's no way you could have gotten pregnant by me. She took a step closer. Then how do you explain this? I can't. He stumbled to the couch and sank into it, burying his face in his hands. All my life, I believed I couldn't have a child. My mother, she made me take those pills since I was 18. She said they were to regulate my hormones, to protect my reproductive health. Rosemary blinked. What pills? He rose and strode to his bedroom. Moments later, he returned with a brown bottle. She snatched it from him, scanning the name. Mi-jin, this isn't a supplement. It's a hormone suppressant. What? She looked at him, horror blooming. Your mother has been drugging you. Flashback. I don't want to take them anymore, mother, a younger Mi-jin once said. You don't understand, Mina, she replied coldly. It's for your good. You're weak like your father was. I won't let that weakness pass down. It makes sense now, Rosemary said, breathless. You stopped taking them ever since I came. You've been too distracted. That's why I got pregnant. Mi-jin backed away from her like she had just revealed a ticking bomb. I'm going to be a father, he said, stunned. For real? Yes. He sat down slowly, hands in his hair. Then suddenly he laughed. Not bitterly, not nervously, but freely, like someone who had been told he was cursed his whole life. only to wake up blessed. I'm going to be a father. Rosemary stepped forward. Does it scare you? He looked up at her. It terrifies me, but I want this. Their hands found each other's. The silence between them turned tender. But outside that penthouse, the real storm was brewing. Chairwoman Han paced her estate hallway, her phone pressed tightly to her ear. You lied to him, her lawyer said flatly. Those pills weren't legally prescribed. I don't care. That woman is manipulating him. She was supposed to disappear. She's not going anywhere. And now she's carrying your grandchild. Han's eyes narrowed. Not if I can help it. Days later, the news broke again. Rosemary, the mysterious woman, confirmed pregnant with CEO Han Mi-jin's baby. Secret love child no longer a secret. Is the CEO's virility a lie? Reporters hounded them at the entrance of Ian's new kindergarten. Rosemary was shoved. Ian cried. Mi-jin saw red. Get away from them, he growled, shielding them with his arms. One more flash in her face, and I'll sue every last one of you. Inside the car, Rosemary wept silently. I'm ruining you, she said. He cupped her cheek. You're saving me. 1 week later, Chairwoman Han came, unannounced again. This time, she brought her full arsenal, 2 lawyers and a signed court paper. I want a paternity test, she declared. You'll get it, Mi-jin said coldly. But I'm keeping her with me regardless. Don't be foolish, she snapped. What if it's not yours? He glared at her. Then I'll love him anyway, like I've always done. Test results, positive. Han Mi-jin, 99.98% probability of paternity. The room went still. Chairwoman Han turned pale.
Rosemary cried.
And Mi-jin smiled. He dropped the test file on the table and looked at his mother. I'm not sterile. I was never the problem. You were. That night, rain lashed against the windows. Rosemary stood in Mi-jin's arms by the fireplace, her fingers tracing the back of his neck. You don't have to keep loving us, she whispered. Not out of guilt. Or duty. He lifted her chin gently. Rosemary, when I first met you, you lied to survive.
I see that now.
But everything after that? That was you. And I fell in love with that you. She kissed him. Longer this time. Slower. No hesitation. Rain fell softly over Seoul the morning Rosemary received the letter. It was pale ivory, with golden lettering and cold intention. Petition for custody review. Han Ian. Filed by Han Mi-young-hee chairwoman, Mi Group. Her hands shook as she clutched the paper. Ian was at school. Mi-jin was still asleep upstairs. For a long moment, she stood in the kitchen, numb and silent, before sliding the envelope onto the table. When Mi-jin came down, hair tousled, shirt half-buttoned, he found her staring blankly into space. Rose. She said nothing. He sat beside her. Talk to me. She slid the letter across the table. He read it once.
Twice.
His jaw hardened and the veins in his neck bulged. She's trying to take him, Rosemary said hoarsely. She wants full custody. She claims I'm unfit, that I forged my visa, that I used you to gain immigration benefits. Mi-jin crushed the letter in his fist. She can't do this. She already did. He stood abruptly, pacing the room like a caged tiger. I'll make some calls. I'll bury this in court. She's overstepping. She's not his parent. But she's rich. Connected. Respected. I'm richer. More connected. And I am his father. Later that day, Rosemary met with a new immigration lawyer, one Mi-jin hired personally. You've been marked as a fraudulent immigrant, the lawyer explained. If this case is taken seriously, you could be deported and banned from re-entering South Korea for 5 years. That includes Ian. Rosemary gasped. They'll take him? Unless you can prove that removing Ian from his current environment would cause psychological harm. Ian is my whole life. Then you'll need to fight like it. That night, in the penthouse, Rosemary stood by Ian's bed, watching him sleep. Her heart ached. Mi-jin joined her silently. She leaned into him. Why is she doing this? She asked. Why would she try to take him away from us? She's afraid. Afraid of me?
No.
Afraid of me loving you. Chairwoman Han sat in her private study, sipping ginseng tea, glaring at an old photo of her son as a child, lonely, forced to sit still in a cold room lined with textbooks. Feelings make men weak, she used to say. Emotions destroy empires. But now, Mi-jin was warm, emotional, in love. Chairwoman Han had built him to be a CEO, not a father or husband. 1 week later, the courtroom. The custody hearing was a circus. Media stood outside. Reporters screamed from the staircases. Mi-jin arrived in a black suit, shielding Rosemary and Ian from the flashes. Inside, Chairwoman Han sat poised and cruel behind her lawyer. She is not a Korean citizen, her lawyer began. She is a known liar. She accused my client's son of fathering her child without proof and has manipulated her way into his wealth and his home. Mi-jin rose before the judge could even ask him to. I fell in love with her. The courtroom froze. And that boy, Ian? He's mine. I don't care how he came into my life. He's mine now. Mr. Han, the judge warned, this is about custody. I know what this is about, he said, fire in his voice. And I'm not giving up either of them. Chairwoman Han's face didn't flinch, but her knuckles turned white. That night, they didn't speak much on the ride home. Ian had fallen asleep in the back seat, mouth open, one sock missing. When they entered the penthouse, Mi-jin stood by the window, staring out at the city. She won't stop, Rosemary whispered behind him. She'll try everything, he admitted. Maybe I should just leave. Give you back your life. He turned to her sharply. Don't say that. I'm scared. So am I. He walked to her, wrapped his arms around her. But I'm more scared of losing you than I am of my mother. Their lips met again, fiery, emotional, desperate. This kiss wasn't tender. It was a vow. They belonged to each other now. No lies. No more pretending. 2 days later, Mi-jin gathered the press in a hotel ballroom. He stood on a podium beside Rosemary, their hands intertwined. I'm not hiding anymore, he said. This is my family. And if you want to report something, report that I'm finally happy.
Gasps.
Cameras. Exploding headlines. CEO Han confirms pregnancy, relationship with Rosemary. Love story shakes Korea's corporate world. Chairwoman Han watched the broadcast alone. Foolish boy, she muttered. But for the first time in years, she looked unsure. Later that night, they lay in bed, legs tangled, Ian asleep in his own room, and for the first time in months, peace settled around them. I was never supposed to have this, Rosemary said. Neither was I. They turned to each other. Mi-jin kissed her belly softly, his hands resting there, where their unborn child now grew. I want to marry you, he said suddenly. She blinked. What? I want to protect you legally, emotionally, permanently. Mi-jin, you said you were scared. Let me fight the fear with you. Not behind you, beside you. She kissed him again. And this time, the answer wasn't just yes. It was everything.